Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Commander's Forge. My name is Andy Bentley, and the Forge is an area for me to talk about magic, Commander, and other things while we try and get this whole mental health thing back to where it's supposed to be. Now, I have not recorded the last couple of weeks because I've just been really busy with everything going on, and this is the first time I really got to, sit down and look at stuff. So, I want to touch on the thing that was announced, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, the update to the two-headed giant pre-release format. So this will be active as of Reality Fracture. And what's changing is normally you and your partner each get a pre-release kit and you build 40 card decks from that. What they are proposing is that each team will receive one pre-release pack and two play boosters to make the 240 card decks. And it just, I'll go through their reasons for it, and then I'll go through why I'm not a fan of it. So they bring up three main reasons. The first one is the balanced card selection. So it says the updated sealed pool makes card choices for the team more comparable to the 1v1 pre-release experience, creating more balanced and easier deck building experience. Their next point is a lower barrier to entry. Reducing the product cost per team makes it easier and more affordable for experienced players to bring a friend to their first pre-release, helping you welcome more new players into your community. And then their third point is the Magic Tournament rules alignment. This total number of play boosters for a team aligns with the MTR recommendations. What the MTR recommends for two-headed giant sealed deck play. It does say that the surprise support doesn't change with the update, and your allocations won't be affected if you're, whatever. So, I can get the lower barrier to entry, but balanced card selection, it's not like you're adding different cards to the pool. It's all the same set. So I'm not a fan. The whole point of pre-release, particularly the two-headed giant pre-release, is to sit down with your partner and try to make the two best decks that you can to dominate. And yeah, there's the skill portion of knowing how to build a good deck and how to build a partner deck that work together. I the only one here that even makes an ounce of sense to me is the lower barrier to entry. But what I see this is Wizards just trying to kill the two-headed giant pre-release format. I don't think a lot of people are going to be terribly happy with the change that they're proposing here. And I still have to talk to my LGS to see if is this a standard they're trying to push, or is this something they're recommending? Because if my LGS is going to be doing this system, this is the death of me going to two-headed giant pre-releases, which was historically my favorite and most times only pre-release I went to. I don't know. I'm not a fan of this change. And I'm sure that sentiment is echoed in a lot of places. But that said, I'm going to take a quick break here. When we come back, talk about something I've been putting together. and then we'll get out of here. All right. I will be right back. And we're back. Now, a few weeks ago, I was able to pick up the final Final Fantasy Commander deck that I didn't have, which is the Terra Herald of Hope Mardu Reanimator deck. And I kind of went through it and was like, oh, there's really two decks here. There's this one, and then there's the backup Commander's deck. So I kind of split them in half, and I haven't built out Celeste yet, but I got this idea with Terra because she specifically can rip out creatures with power 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. It made me think of another creature, Alesha, who smiles at death. And so I kind of made an Alesha deck with Terra at the lead. So let's go through Terra first. So she is Mardu, which is black, red, white, for a 3/3 human wizard warrior. She has the ability Trance. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you mill 2 cards, and then she gains flying till end of turn. And whenever she deals combat damage to a player, you can pay 2. When you do, return target creature card with power 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So I, back in the day, played an Alesha Who Smiles at Death deck, and it did okay, but it was just a little slow. And so here I went a slightly different path, and I've only played it a couple of times, and so far I've been pleasantly surprised with how well it's done. So, Alesha Who Smiles at Death is 2 in red for a 3/2 human warrior with first strike, and whenever she attacks, you can pay a hybrid Orzhov, and if you do, return target creature card with power 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield taps and attacking. Now, that's a big difference between 2 and 3 power, but because we're going low to the ground, we have a good mix of 2 and 3 power creatures. I do believe there's only one creature in the deck that we can't get with either Terra or Alesha's trigger, and that's because it's a 4/3, I believe. But it's very good at what it does. Now, in addition to Alesha Who Smiles at Death, we also have Alesha Who Laughs at Fate. So 1, a black and a red, for a 2/2 human warrior with first strike. Whenever she attacks, put a counter on it, and she has the raid trigger. At the beginning of your end step, if you attacked this turn, return target creature card with mana value less than or equal to her power from your graveyard to the battlefield. So this is the one instance where we could get the 4 power creature back if, Alesha has 4 power. But, the main dish of the deck is just getting, medium to low power creatures into play, either from my hand or from the graveyard. So we have things like Bright Hearth Banneret, which is 1 in a red for a 1/1 elemental warrior, and elemental spells and warrior spells you cast cost 1 less to play. It also has Reinforce 1 for 1 in a red. We have the Archetype of Aggression, which is 1 red for a 3/2 human warrior. Creatures you control have trample, and creatures your opponents control lose trample and can't gain trample. We've got a couple of oldie but goodies that have been around since the Tarkir days of the white-black warrior list, and that's Chief of the Scale and Chief of the Edge. They're both a white and a black. One's a 3/2, and the other one's a 2/3. And Chief of the Edge says other warrior creatures you control get +1/+0, and Chief of the Scale says other warrior creatures you control get +0/+1. Next, I have another favorite from those days, and that's the Mardu Strike Leader. 2 in a black for a 3/2 human warrior. Whenever he attacks, you make a 2/1 black warrior creature token, and it has dash for 3 and a black. Let's see, what is the other one? Yes. So with the newest visit to Tarkir, we saw the commander deck with Zergo Stormrender, and part of that got cannibalized for this as well. So, including Zergo Stormrender, the commander, which is Mardu, black, white, green, or black, white, red. For a 3/3 Orc Warrior, it has Mobilize 1, and whenever a creature token you control leaves the battlefield, draw a card if it was attacking, otherwise each opponent loses 1 life. And we pair that with Zergo, Thunder's Decree, which is the Zergo from the actual set, which is also Mardu, for a 2/4 Orc Warrior with Mobilize, and during your end step, warrior tokens you control have this token can't be sacrificed. So if he's around, your Mobilize tokens stick around. But we wanted to do, fun stuff with the graveyard, fun stuff with just getting things into play. So things like Garner the Bloodflame, which is 3 a black and a red for a 3/3 human warrior with flash. But when she enters the battlefield, return to your hand all creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from anywhere this turn. So this could be, we attack, we mill 2 creatures, we can only bring 1 back. So we do that, but then we flash in Garnet to get the other one to our hand, or if somebody board wipes, we can flash her in to get them all back to our hand. We've got the Ogre Battle Driver, 2 red for a 3/3 Orc Warrior. Whenever another creature you control enters, that creature gets +2/+0 and haste until end of turn. We have the Intrepid Adversary, 1 and a white for a 3/1 Human Scout. It has lifelink, and when it enters the battlefield, you can pay 1 and a white any number of times. When you pay this cost 1 or more times, put that many Valor counters on the Intrepid Adversary. Creatures you control get +1/+1 for each Valor counter on Intrepid Adversary. So, the fact that it's not on cast, but on enters, means it gets around when you reanimate him. Next up, we have the Brutal Horde Chief. 3 and a black for a 3/3 Orc Warrior with whenever a creature you control attacks, defending player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And for 3 and then 2 Hybrid Boros, creatures your opponents control block this turn of Fable, and you choose how those creatures block. Next up, we have the Rushblade Commando. It's a black and red for a 2/2 Azure Warrior, and it just says warriors your team control have haste. Next up, we have Suki Kyoshi Captain. 2 and a white for a 3/3 human warrior ally. Other warriors you control get +1/+1, and for 3 and a white, attacking warriors you control gain double strike till end of turn. Next up, we have Marshal of the Lost, 2 a white and a black for a 3/3 Orc Warrior with Death Touch. Whenever you attack, target creature gets +X/+X till end of turn, where X is the number of attacking creatures. Next up, we have the Stormclaw Rager, 1 a black and red for a 2/2 Ogre Warrior. You can pay 1, sacrifice another creature or artifact, put a +1/+1 counter on the Rager, and draw a card. Activate only as a sorcery. Next up, we have Erishan Foremost, 1 white for a 2/2 human warrior with double strike. And whenever she enters or attacks another target warrior you control, gains double strike till end of turn. Next up, we have the Blood Chin Rager, 1 and a black for a 2/2 human warrior. Whenever he attacks, each warrior creature you control can't be blocked this turn except by 2 or more creatures. So in the layman's terms of nowadays, they gain menace. Next up, we have the Professional Facebreaker, 2 and a red for a 2/3 human warrior with menace. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. And you can sacrifice a treasure to exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. Next up, we have the Kargan War Leader, 1 red and a white for a 3/3 human warrior that says other warriors you control get +1/+1. After that, we have the Avenger of the Fallen, 2 and a black for a 2/4 human warrior with Death Touch and Mobilize X, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. And then we have the Primaris Eliminator, 4 and a black for a 3/2 Astartes Warrior. When he enters the battlefield, choose 1. The Executioner round destroys target creature. And the Hyperfang round, creatures target player controls, gets -2/-2 till end of turn. So it can come down and hit a big thing, or if somebody's running tokens and doesn't have a ton of anthems, you just board wipe. So yeah. Now, I do have one notable non-warrior in the deck, and her name is Judith the Scourge Diva. 1, a black and red for a 2/2 human shaman that says other creatures you control get +1/+0. And whenever a non-token creature you control dies, Judith the Scourge Diva deals 1 damage to any target. So, yeah, she's very good with what the deck is trying to do with, like, looping creatures, because we don't have evasion on everything, so things are going to die constantly. And, yeah. So I just want to go over some of the, like, support cards in the deck, and then we'll wrap this up. And first up for that, we have the Patchwork Banner, which is a 3-mana artifact. When it enters, you choose a creature type. Creatures of the chosen type get +1/+1, and it taps to add 1 mana of any color. Next up, we have Within Range, which is 3 in a black for an enchantment that says when this enchantment enters, create 2 1/1 red warrior creature tokens. And whenever you attack, target opponent loses life equal to the number of creatures attacking them. After that, we have All Out Assault, which is 2 and Mardu. For an enchantment that says creatures you control get +1/+1 and have Death Touch. Whenever this enchantment enters, if it's your main phase, there is an additional combat phase after this phase, followed by an additional main phase. When you next attack this turn, untap each creature you control. So, if your creatures are tapped, you go to your second main, you play this in your second main, you go to combat, and then your creatures will untap at that beginning of combat. Alrighty. Next up, we have the Barren Steppe Siege. 2, a white and a black, for an enchantment. When it enters, you choose Abzan or Mardu. If you choose Abzan at the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. And if you choose Mardu at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, each opponent sacrifices a creature they control, or a creature of their choice. So, it honestly depends on where we are in the game, and if it's better to just start loading tokens onto all, or loading counters on all of the creatures that I've just accrued over the last few turns, or if we're just going to keep flinging my creatures into, defensive walls, we can start clearing the board that way. And finally, I want to talk about just a oldie but a goodie, Fervent Charge. 1 in Mardu for an enchantment that says whenever a creature you control attacks, it gets +2/+2 till end of turn. So, yeah. This is something I've played a couple of times. I'm very happy with. There's still a few tweaks I'd like to make. I know there's some warriors that I just didn't have that could probably boost me up a little bit. But yeah, that's Terra, and all of the warriors that are running with her. Yeah, I think that's gonna do it for today. So I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. All of my links can be found in my link tree in the description below. I would like to thank Ian Foss and Cody Mulvey of the band The Crypt for allowing me to use music for my opening and ending, along with Nate and Erica Jacobs for making my original logo. And I would also like to thank Christina McNichol for creating my new logo. And I'll see you next time.